Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ali Kaj, a prophet of the seven thunders, and a priest of the Abrahamic covenant. This presentation is a redux of consequence, we're going to begin this presentation with the Holocaust. Before we do that, check our systems and make sure we're still going. Everything. Test. Still going. All right. The Holocaust. The 400 years of horror, terror, affliction that the black man and woman has endured here in the hills of North America. Being dehumanized, stripped of your language, stripped of our culture, raped, beat, whipped, flung, sodomized, hung, lynched, terror and horror, hunted, used as animals, skin used for leather. How cool. Now, fine leather. Skin, black man's skin, black woman's skin. To make belts, boots, like snake skin, eel skin, nigga skin. Nigga skin, fine nigga skin, leather. This horror and terror in this strange land where we were kidnapped and brought to this land. Children snatched from parents. Children separated, families separated, sold off to all different parts of the world, different parts of the country, different parts of just split up. Young girls being raped by your forefathers. The ones that set up this Constitution. They had all owned slaves. So they all oppressed slaves. So the Holocaust, being dehumanized, take a people and made us lower than the animals around. They treated us less than the animals. They fed us the bare minimum. Animals got a particular eating, or they graze. They let them go graze in the grass, and they eat the grass and different things out of it that they need to survive. We couldn't go eat the clay. We couldn't go eat the dirt, the red dirt that had plenty of minerals in it. We wasn't allowed to eat that. We couldn't eat dirt, but we can get fed shit, cow dung, shitterlings, all rotten, the rotten, the bad parts of the corn and other oats and rotten, the things that they blend and make for cattle feed. Oh, corn and husk and those are things that they mixed and fed to the animals. And they lined us up, fed the animals, and fed us right next to the animals, right with the animals. These are the things that they want to hide from, sweep up under the rug, about the horrors of America, or the black man and woman in America. The affliction that we went through for 400 years. Taking a child from his parents, taking a child from his mother while she's breaking her damn neck, getting beat or whatever you master wanted her to do, and turn around, her child is taken, never to be seen alive again. Taken to go hunt an alligator. What kind of damn people would take children to go hunt alligators? Sick, sadistic, evil people. That you stoop that, and then you claim that you are righteous, and then say no righteous person. There's not actions, no actions that you carry out is of a righteous people. Not one. It takes a devil. It takes somebody evil and nasty to do what was done to the black man and woman. And that's what the scripture said, that we will be in this strange land and they will afflict us. Burning down, coming through where we live in a little town of just us, trying to maintain, come burn the whole town down, kill everybody. There's many towns that have been burnt down, pillaged, and killed. And they want us to act like we brothers, we good. No, we not good. No, we not. Our ancestors will roll over in their grave if we act like you just gonna do that and now it's just okay. But America's The fabric of America has the same cloth that it came from the beginning. It's the same fabric. They're doing the same thing. They never repented. They never said they're sorry. They don't have no intentions in change. They say, well, we got a little better. But we know we still gonna do what we want to do. Still gonna treat you like an animal. We still gonna cage you up in our system. We know our system is totally against you. But if you don't submit, we gon' no. They haven't changed not one bit. They're still shooting us down. The police is the same as the slave catchers. The paddies is now paddy wagons. The Ku Klux Klan is the police. The CIA, the FBI. This is the Holocaust. And they can call it critical race theory all they want. But one thing that they're not going to be able to shake is the consequence for what they've done. They mentally beat us. They mentally tormented us. With their Christian lies. That's why they won't even. Now, they formulated every damn thing they do. And they give you a script and they tell you what is and what can't be, and what you can do and what you can't think, and what you can teach and what you can't teach. That's this beast, this controlling beast. That thinks that no one can touch it. No one can tell it or her what to do. She's the only one that can do what she does. She can tell you don't do it and do it right in your face, and you better not do the same thing. Only she can do it. Only America can do this. Only the Caucasians can do this. You better not do it. But that's that arrogant beast and sit up and like we both better do, we better not tell the truth on her. We better not, close your mouth. No. It wasn't slavery. Slavery is minimum overhead for maximum profit. Y'all are maxed in every way. Still eating. Still own all the land. Your whole system is a lying, greedy system that gives it all back. This whole system goes all back into your hands. There's no way that you can keep up with this filthy, lying, dirty system. No justice, taxation, taxing every. Ain't no way you can find peace in this system. This is a horror, a terror and a people of terror and horror that they inflict on everybody else, and they inflicted it for 400 years, single cold-heartedly on the black man and woman. 365, 24/7, 400 days, 400 years, 365 days, 24/7, and hundreds of years. And they haven't changed. They haven't changed. They have no intent in changing. Just ask the brother who they hose down with over 60 bullets running away, telling them don't shoot. Ask the brother that got shot in his bed, lifting up. Then they try to justify it. But they don't do their own people like that. We know what they do. We watch it. See how they spend time. See how they wait. They don't pull their guns. Then people can have a knife and this or that. They don't pull out guns and just blow that walk. They don't do that to their own people. No. But always trying to justify why they killed one of us, or why they killed the brother, why they killed the black man. Yeah, we was trained to kill. We wasn't trained. We don't wait. You up in somebody's home. They in their bed. They can't get you. What was they doing? If you was that scared, you should have stayed at the damn door. But it was a justified most homicide. Justified homicide because it's a black man and we going in and we're most likely, then they read the record. Brothers and sisters, they're not going to get away with nothing. Not one thing that they have done. Oh, they are heaping. We just heaping coals of fire on their head. Heaping them. Because they think they getting away. They think they done got away. They really think that they running something. They really think that the author, they really don't see, they really think that they shit don't stink. They really got that they really think that they gonna go and do what they gonna do what they ain't no consequence when it dealing with us. This is the Holocaust. We put their ass through, do anything we want to do. Brothers and sisters, to keep in the forefront of your mind, this Holocaust is the 400 years of terror and affliction that we would go through, have submission, and go through the whole 400 years here in this hellhole. Submitted ourselves to the will of Allah. Submitted ourselves to our Father to take us to the mountain and kill us, to take us out. Father submitted to the will of Allah. We submitted to the will of Allah to take us out. However, that 400 years was not in vain. Brothers and sisters, hard cause we're going home because of this. We're going home. You promised to go home. Allah promised to Abraham's seed that they will call you Ham and do all these things that they say that we deserve, but only describes their nature, because you have to, man, if you was angels, you would treat the people like angels. The world will be peaceful, but you're not. The world is a total horror and terror zone. Because of what? The man of horror, the man of terror. And he has afflicted us for 400 years, and we're the true seed, or the one, the ones that are going to reap the birthright. Now, we're going to get into our topic, because this Holocaust is a direct reason, or direct uh, reason, action. That's what it is, a direct action to grant this consequence and judgment on America and the rest of the world as well. So let us get into our topic. Okay. I'm going to leave it there for a moment. Let me look at this. All right. I'm gonna need this. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go down to this one. It has. I'm gonna show it there. So we have it moved. Get the prophets up top, logical. Okay. That's okay. That's fine. And we're gonna do like this. Like this. Okay. Let me do one more thing with the. And here we have one here. All right. Let me see. Like this. I think that maybe I should just go here and then make that bigger. Yeah, that makes more sense. Bear with me for a moment. I'll put myself on there. Yeah. Take this, blow it up. All right. You just gonna leave it here. Now, this presentation, excuse me, this key represent the prophets. Now, just bear with me. Matter of fact, we'll get to that. Let us speak on this consequence, and then we'll get into it. Looking at this, we have Magog here at the bottom. All this is considered the Caucasian nations or the earth. Iran is not, Iran and Syria are the golden part of that nation. So they're the Islamic part. Then you have the Oriental, you have Asian nations, and the Arabs. Then you have the African nations. And here in the middle, you have the original nation. And they're mixed with demons. And those demons come from the consequence of 400 years of rape of the slave master raping our women. So they produced a devil man that looks like the original man, looks like the tribe of Shabazz, looks like the Levites, and they've been raised with them and amongst them. But they're not them. They're masters. See, this is the consequence of rape. Now, what consequence? Now, let me see, because we did start this off yesterday. This is a Redux. The Redux is always a little bit different than the first, especially when you have no words. So that's my fault. Something with my system. However, consequence. the noun, a result or effect of an action or condition. Important or relevance. So, consequence means a result or effect of an action or a condition. Now, consequence in its real the real definition is mathematic definition, or is every action has an equal reaction. So therefore you can't get away from consequence, because every action has an for every action it has an equal reaction. So whenever that reaction comes, you're going to reap that consequence. So consequence, and where consequence comes in this day and time that we're in this time of consequence, this time of every action having an equal reaction, this time of judgment, because the consequence is a judgment or action carried out because, what did it say? Because of a because of a of an action or condition. So the condition and the action, so the action put us in a condition. We were taken from our land and brought here and enslaved and afflicted. Now, the consequence. So, this okay. All right. I want to say this. I'm just trying to keep everything in a manner so you can understand. Consequence. Consequence. And how we're looking at it, or how you perceive it. Every action has an equal reaction. So things that happen through a period of time, a people's period of rule, a periods of times and a multiple time of carrying out an action and bringing in, carrying out this action, putting people or a people or something in a condition for a length of time. Brings that conditioning or that action or in that condition or the intent of the action that that caused the condition that the people were put through. That whole thought is going to be turned 360 degrees and the reaction is coming back on you in a period of time. Because if you're doing something and your intent is to, and you're doing it as a whole, a collective, and you're doing this in a period of time, and you have an intent, and you're putting the people in a condition, and your intent is to destroy them or annihilate them, the consequence that you're going to receive is being subjected to what your thought and your actions and the condition was, and that consequence could be 10 times worse than what your intent or what you was trying to do, or the action, your intent and the action and the condition, you're going to reap that condition. And that's what's taking place. So it's not just one nation, it's many nations. It's many nations. We're going to have to walk, and because of who we are, because of being the Levites of America that went through the 400 years of terror and horror, going through the Holocaust, along with the tribe of Shabazz. We are going to have to go through each and every nation, and each and every nation that has its parts of these nations that has done or committed adultery or committed an act to against us as a people with Gog, Magog, and God. They've utilized these Caucasian nations, Gog, Magog, God, the demons, to attack us, to try to do us harm, to try to take us out. So we're going to, this consequence is coming throughout time, through time spans. And and that's what, in the days, these days that we're living in, we're in the time, the days of judgment, the time for judgment. So we're living in through this time, this part of time that we in is a time of revelations revealing all things. So you got all the things revealing. This is the time that that's the kind of consequence for being unaware. Look, now you first, you didn't know, you've been threw off the course, and you didn't have you didn't know who God. Now you've been given the understanding and the reality of the God. So being that we are in this time living revelations, everything's been revealed, like I just said. Everything in the time of revelations, in the time of revealing, the time of the angel, the gospel of revelations, living in the time of the unsealed scriptures, in the time of the messenger of the covenant, in the time of Joshua or Daniel or Jesus, which is the same as Joshua. Living in that time, the time that came after the 400 years of terror. And the 400 years of terror came after, now listen to this, the 400 years of terror of Abraham, of this people being in this strange land, came after the beast was let out, the bottomless pit for a short time. After the 1,000 years of being locked in the Dark Ages, they were released and allowed to go to all four corners of the earth to make mischief and bloodshed. Now, we're living in that time after the 400 years, which is the time of revelation, the time of consequence, which is the time of judgment. So we're living in the time of judgment, time of consequence. Every action has an equal reaction. So these periods of time when the faults of an individual people or nation put thoughts and plans and actions, did actions and made a condition that trickled down for periods of time that didn't take a year. No, it didn't happen a year. It happened several years. This thought, this action that they kept doing to put these people in this condition, to cause a condition. Now, the chosen people, or let me say it like this, because I don't want you to get misunderstood. Because when you say things, we say the true seed of Abraham, the tribe of Shabazz, tribe of the Levites, well, the priest tribe of the Levites. Now, I want to say this because if we're the true seed of Abraham, I say that wrong. If the tribe of Shabazz is the original tribe, I, being a Levite from the African tribe, priest tribe of the Levites, the Shabazz tribe is from Africa as well, but it's northern Africa, Arabia, the northern African tribe, the original. Now, we know that the Hindi tribe as well is an original tribe. However, because of the Caucasians being brought out of us, they're the true seed of Abraham as well. Because we all come from the beginning, the Father. Now they said, Abraham, I will make nations out of you, like the stars. However, this is the consequence. Time is made a 360, and the consequence so the things that has been taking place, time, a people, actions, rulership, dominance, affecting people, a people. So all that has happened, especially those that the intent hasn't changed. You know, it says they haven't repented and they have made um what is it? Adultery with her. So nations, when you look at the black man and woman of America, nations have took it. All nations have took a stab at the black man and woman of America. They all look down on them. They all look down on them. We made to look like nothing. Nations' intent, your intentions didn't get away. Your actions and your conditions that were put on us, the taking of our land, the pushing us out of our land, the plotting to get us annihilated, selling us out. The consequence is coming. No, the consequence is here. We're in the time of, see, this time of consequence. This is a time of consequence, judgment for nations. This is well, this is a personal, no, it has some personal, get in the car or do this, but this is consequence that is judgment on nations. Nations are being judged. Now, I want to read, just because I'm not going into um, depth on how the nations all are descendants. Now, I want to say that the Caucasian is a descendant because it's a descendant of Abraham, a descendant, but not. Oh, I'm gonna say it like that. A descendant, but not. I'm gonna leave it like that. So so in this time of judgment, you know, you got people running around. Well, I'm not this. I'm not that. It's not that. It's not that small and detailed, small and personal. It's not like that. The nation, you don't see yourself because you're not seen as an individual. Each nation is a body. So you say, I'll represent my own body. You represent the nation, the body of the nation. So we're in this time of judgment. And the black man, the tribe of Shabazz, the Levites, have been removed, pushed out of their land. The God had been 35,000 years ago. The God was taken away from his, disconnected away, disconnected him, the God, from his creation. And when we're, oh man, I gotta, we made it a lot better. Wasn't good. Hold on. Now, check my time. So, nations are being judged. consequence of the thought and the action that produce these conditions. So first, as I was saying, the black man, the tribe of Shabazz, was pushed out of his land, pushed down into the lower parts, well, into Africa, or into where the tribe of the Levites on the other side of below the Nile River. And then was was pointed out and sold off to Satan, or the false Jews, and they carried the tribe of Shabazz and the Levites into the earth, into the let's say to the belly of the beast of Gog, and parts, and in Magog and Gog. Now, nations have taken part in this demise of the black man and woman, or the true seed of Abraham, or we're not gonna say that. That's the tribe of Shabazz and the Levites. And the time has come 360. So the consequence of their actions. So the consequence of time and action. So time putting a thought and condition of time. So you never replaced. It's when you say, how long? These actions, did you change them? Do you, as a people, as a nation? So that's what these stories, all these things that was shared in these stories or characters of the nations that have afflicted or carried out these actions on the tribe of Shabazz, the Levites that have been grafted in. Now this is a good sighting. Happy I came around that like that. as you see here, you see this says the prophets. And then you see this whole, this key is the angel key. This is all the nations on this key. All the nations. This represents all the nations. You have the African nations. You have the Asian nations. You have the Orient. Then you have the Caucasian nations. And on top of, well, not on top of here, the gold and elite is together here at the bottom because Iran and Syria are the gold of the Caucasian nation. They're on their maternal, their mother's side, they're Caucasian, but they're original on their father's side. So their fathers are original and their mother is Caucasian. Now, the Orientals are a byproduct of, I'm just going to leave that like that. I'm not going to get into that because we talk about consequence. We have to keep it on that. And then you have the Asian nation, which are those of Hindu Kush, the Hindi, the Arabs, and the Arabs are the gold of the Asian nations. Then you have the African nations, which are, well, we know the African nations. So on here you have all the nations on the key. And at the top of this key, you have the scientist, 25th scientist, or son of man. This represents Joshua or Jesus, the messenger of the covenant. And as you see Isa, Prophet Isa, Prophet Muhammad, Elijah. Then you have here the mouth, the door, the mouth. This is the mouth, Aaron. These are the African nations. Then you have here the Arab nation is the elite of the Asian nation. This middle line is the original nation. So you have Suleiman, the elite, demons, because then you have the NOI. This 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 4, 6, 7. Okay. Not Satan. This is Master Farah Muhammad. But the demons are Master C in this nation. But we're not going to get ticked off too far from what we're speaking about consequence. I want to get to throwing you off. Let's stay with consequence. So I was saying that this one said 35,000 years, and who first took us off, separated us from, is the Hindi or Buddha. It's the same thing. They kind of have the same belief matrix going on, the worshiping of the air, um, all these different gods. Well, I'm gonna narrow this down. It's due to time, and I want to make sure I keep you in touch with right in close knit to what consequence. Now, so I'm gonna say it like this. The Hindu Kush. So, what do they represent? Are they the Sunnis, Arab, and Sunni nations, which would be Ishmaelites? And we look at as a nation how or what their actions and their responses and their intent, their motivation, their intent, their actions on how and what they've done to the tribe of Shabazz. How as a nation over time in each phase, how they are playing a part in the demise of the tribe of Shabazz, in the demise of the black man and woman of America. So, all the things that's been coming through time periods, the thought, the actions, the effect, the cause, the condition has been pushing for years. It is built up the consequence behind. No, the consequence that each nation is going to face in how they have done, how their thoughts, their intent, their actions, their condition that have brought on these conditions, and they haven't changed them in this and throughout time. They haven't changed. Now, because they didn't, and they're not, then The judgment the judgment is being made, and the consequence for their actions, the every action has an opposite reaction. Now that time is coming. On the nations, on all of them. No one is getting away. So we're going to speed this up as well. False Israel. This is false Israel. This is Magog and Gog. This is who put false Israel on the throne. This is so. False Israel has came, kidnapped, terrorized, brought us out from our home, off from Africa, took us to Magog, some to Magog, took the majority up to Gog, set areas in the Caribbeans, large slave plantations where they processed us, beat us, whooped us, did all kind of things to us. Then took us to the mainland of America, Georgetown, Virginia. Lost over 200, killed over 200 million of us just in the slave trade. I mean, on the route over. Many more millions here in America. Pushed the slavery. They wanted to stop it earlier, and the false Jews pushed it on to where they kept it in the Constitution. So the false Jews pushed it in. This is early. So 1619, 2019, the 400 years. The false Jews for 100 years were doing that thing. Now, 1948, the false Jews were set on this throne as taking on the identity of the tribe of Shabazz. Taking the tribe of Shabazz identity and being set and taking all the perks that came with it. They were set on this throne in the Middle East, in heaven, by Magog and Gog, Britain and America, to counter the narrative that the God, Master Prophet Muhammad, came and raised up one, Elijah Muhammad, and gave him the excuse me, gave him the supreme lessons that he taught and shared with us that we're living out Exodus. We're the true seed of Abraham. So they wanted to change that narrative. But we was already 300 years in. 300 plus. So they wanted to try to change that narrative. Now, listen. So they took our identity. Then it was set into the Middle East to destabilize that, destabilize the idea that the black man and woman is true seed of Abraham, and it destabilized the Middle East. Now, 1950s come, and 1954, the false Jews take the demons, master's children, that look like us, walk like us, and talk like us, and trick them to use them to change the order in America, to push segregation. Integration. To push this integration so that the false Jews can put a foothold and they needed everybody to be freely moving so they can find a way into the fabric of America. So if it was separated, it would be white, blacks, and we would be separated. And that's what we wanted. That's what Elijah Muhammad, that's what the God shared with Elijah Muhammad, the messenger, and we were separated. We wanted separation. So they had to push this agenda. And they took the face using the demons, and they're ignorant, but they want to be among their fathers so bad. They love their fathers. They have the ways of their father, and they want to be around their fathers. So they wanted this as well, but they didn't know that they was getting duped by the false Jews. However, they began this whole. They built, they founded, they funded the whole civil rights movement. It was a part they had to build and make this movement for their own situation, their own livelihood. But they couldn't do it on their own whereabouts. They had to utilize the demons as if they were the black man. And the demons is their master's seed. Their master's children. But they had to use the face or the identity of the black man to push this agenda as if this was for the black man, but it was for the false Jews. And they put millions of dollars in it. They used their lawyers, their demons. They set lobbyists. They set judges up. They pushed certain. It took them a time because they had to push certain judges in line to get them in office to push these laws and these new ways in. So they funded it all, and they wrote everything. It wasn't for the black man and woman. However, I have to move this quick because I have to end this. I have to end this. So they create these laws and they do it as if they're us. So they're piggybacking again. Again, they're doing this on the backs of the black man and woman, on infiltrating the tribe of Shabazz and the Levites, because the demons are infiltrating us as well, because they're master seed, so they're not us either, and they want to be around their father. They did go through the Holocaust. They are seen as us, so, but they're not us. So they didn't get it as hard as we received it, got it. However, they did this and they're receiving all types of money, they good living, they all kind of grants and all kind of perks off of what they wrote. So they duped this and wrote all these things up so for they can benefit, for they can take care of false Israel, so they can build false Israel. And America is Gog and Magog is protecting them and giving them their weaponry, their military advantages in the Middle East, keeping them there to destabilize our brothers in the Middle East. So, let me speed this up. Consequence. The consequence, this, as I've been sharing, nations are being judged. This time of judgment is a judgment of all nations. And this is just because I will probably have to do a part 2, and I'll explain it with some more scriptures. However, some backup, some meat, some sources, some references that you can go into it, really get into it. The abomination of desolation is where we are right now. The JCPOA is the ignition to this war in the Middle East. This war in the Middle East is going to be between Michael and his angels and the dragon and his angels. Michael being Master Farah Muhammad, Iran and Syria are his angels. The House of Saudi Arabia, and its angels, that's the dragon, the House of Saudi Arabia, and its angels are Britain and America and false Israel. Now, Michael and his angels are going to take down Saudi Arabia. They're going to remove Britain and America from the Middle East. And they're going to siege and then destroy false Israel. False Israel, see, is still a lying throne. They're still sitting there on the throne, lying, keeping got the world caught up in this lie, looking at them as if they're the tribe of Shabazz. That's what they're doing. They have taken the identity of the tribe of Shabazz and sitting in the world and on the throne as this lion throne as they're the tribe of Shabazz. So the world is caught up and they're receiving all these things from the sealed scriptures and they are being looked at as they're some special or righteous people or the ones that have the right to the birthright of Abrams. However, they haven't did 400 years in nothing. Their little 4 years, they haven't all that everything that they even claim is easily dismissed. The 400 years, 1619 to 2019, the plague broke out, didn't pass them over. It was decimated by the plague. The plague didn't. It passed over those that had the blood of the lamb or the DNA, African nations, Haiti, Africans, original all over the planet. They wasn't panicking and dropping dead. Some of them might have caught the pandemic or the plague, but they bounced right back and they still kept it moving. But it decimated them. So it didn't pass them over. But they're going to be removed. It said when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know that her desolation is nigh. That's destruction. So if her destruction is near, then you know it's a lying, and it's sitting on the throne as a liar. It's a lying throne. So they're going to be removed and needs and have to first that consequence they have to be removed so that the world can see for sure who that has to be. The first thing, what would you do if somebody stole your identity? The first person that in this judgment that will be taken out will be the one sitting lying that had put me through, brought me, did all these different, the people, the nation that has put this thought and effort and actions and caused this condition on us and have never changed. And all this time, see this built up. These hot coals just building up on their head. They think they got away with something. No. No. They're going to be removed, destroyed. And that's what's going to let everybody see who that nation that been through that 400 years of terror and horror, and terror in this strange land, who the birthright holders are. The world will know without a shadow of a doubt. The gray area, the gray zone, all that'll be removed. It'll be clear blue skies. You can see it's going, all the lies, all the country, all that's moved And then you'll be able to see who America is, who false Britain is. Excuse me, who Britain is. False Israel will be no more. And then that's when we will all be attacked. But we're in the time of judgment. Each 360 degrees, brothers and sisters, that's what time has moved in. And the consequences of what we're speaking, the consequence for nations' actions, intentions, their actions, that it caused a condition for that moved us and caused and they pushed these actions in the tent and kept going and feeding and lived these things, never repented, keeping their idea alive. So they're being judged as a whole for what they've done. So we're in this time of judgment, time of consequence. This consequence, every action has an equal reaction, in which is a judgment. For consequence, it's a judgment. It's 360. It's coming back on you. The consequence, and that's what all this comes down to. Abraham covenant, then receiving the consequence. Nations receiving, because it didn't start just here. It's thousands of years of thoughts, nations, parent, and ideas, and intentions and actions that cause conditions that for years, and we went through this conditioning, these conditions, heaping hot coals on their head because they thought they was gonna get away with it. They're not. Consequence. You don't get away from consequence. And this is part two, so I'm thinking, and I had said a lot of, you're always trying to, but can't get it in because it went another way. However, I hope you get to understand. I hope you understand. You understand that every action has an equal reaction, which is consequence. And we're living in the days, in the time of consequence, which is the time of judgment. And all nations are being judged. All people, all nations, all bodies. Each nation is a body, and they're being judged for what that nation, these consequences, and these things that you had, the actions, that the conditions that you for years are keeping. So I'm gonna bring this to a close. We may go back into this with some more meat, giving you taking it piece by a little, a little sections, and then giving you a little more meat from it with some scripture, some text, something that you can go back and study with. However, I'm going to bring this to a close and thank you for watching and greet you as I came. The priest of the Abraham and Trump covenant, and Levi prophet of the seven thunders, Malik Hodge, and I greet you in the green words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.